Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks a lot for joining me. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Wes Audio NG Tube EQ. Rather than give you a sound comparison, which I will, I'll show you what it sounds like, but I'm more interested to talk about the finer points of the NG Tube and what it actually brings to the table. Wes Audio have decided to go down the digitally controlled analog route. On the back of the NG Tube, you have the option of USB-B or Ethernet, and you can then have a plugin which has all available formats imaginable. You can control it basically like Pro Q4. The Wes Audio plugin looks very, very similar to Pro Q, and it controls all of the functions, so you don't actually have to touch it. Now, the benefit of that is, without stating the obvious, recallability. From session to session, your plugin settings can be saved, you can save presets, you can use it just like a normal plugin. Your favourite EQ moves, that kind of thing, all recallable in an instant, which is really cool. However, if for whatever reason the plugin doesn't work for you or whatever, it's fully controllable from the actual unit itself. So I guess you can say there is redundancy in terms of one day the software won't work. Probably true, but the EQ still will. So that's a win. In terms of the EQ itself, you've got 4 bands per side. It'll do a bunch of different things. It'll do dual mono, stereo, mid-side. It's got a built-in sort of distortion feature where you can overdrive the tubes in it if you want a little bit of saturation. That's really nice. It'll do really, really fine adjustment as well, down to like 0.8 of a dB. I think it's really designed to be a mastering EQ. In practice, you can do quite a lot with it. I've been kind of playing about with it on a couple of sessions and it's great sounding. It's just a tube EQ. It sounds really nice. It sounds exactly like you would expect a tube EQ to sound. So they're not reinventing the wheel there. They've just made a really decent build quality tube EQ that's got a really advanced functionality in terms of the plugin control. So if you've not seen it before, I did a video I will link up here for the Bettermaker Darth limiter, which also has plugin control. But for me, the Bettermaker software is a little bit archaic looking and a bit archaic feeling, and it already feels dated to me. But the Wes, that's really nice. It's really nice. First things first, let me show you the unit, and then we'll look at the software side of things. All right, so looking at the front panel, everything here is just really, really top quality. You've got proportional Q, so at the moment I have it set to stereo, and when it's stereo, the left-hand side is the one that controls both sides, so as you can see, this does nothing. If you set it to dual mono, obviously you've got individual control. You've got a small LED panel there which will tell you what settings you're adjusting at any given time. I would like it personally if that was a little bigger. For instance, they could have moved the buttons to one side slightly and put a slightly bigger display here, but instead they've gone with this option. It's not too bad, I suppose. You do have some preset buttons if you want to save quick go-to presets. You've also got gain mode in 15 dB, or if you hold here, 5 dB mode. So you hold proportional Q to change between 15 and 5 dB. What that means is, on 5 dB mode, maximum gain, all the way around to minimum gain, is 5 dB, and in 15 dB mode, it's all the way to 15 dB. So in 5 dB mode, which you would use for mastering, this means you've got really, really fine control in 0.8 of a dB increments, which is absolutely incredible. On each band, I say it's 4 band, it's technically 6 because you have got a high pass and low pass as well. So your low pass and high pass on each channel. You've also then got sweepable frequencies. So this band will do between 22 Hz and 1K. Then you've got 90 Hz to 4.8K. And then you've got 260 Hz to 11K. And then finally, 600 Hz to 28K. So you've got a really big sweep there in between available frequencies, and it'll go up super high. You've got your Q knob here for tighter and broader, and obviously that can be a proportional Q as well if you want a bit more of a musical sounding EQ. And then you've got the THD knob, which dials in the amount of compression. Now let me show you the software. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is the G-Con monitor. This is the Wes Audio G-Con system, which allows you to mainly configure your tube EQ and how it's connected. So I'm currently using Ethernet. You can also plug in a USB, and it'll tell you what firmware version it is. You can reboot the unit, you can upgrade it, all of that kind of thing. It really is that simple. Once you've got it connected, you run this software, job done. It's super simple. That'll run in your taskbar up at the top, and problem solved, right? Great, perfect. So I've got it here as a hardware insert. This is the plugin. So the plugin is absolutely incredible. I'm currently using it on passive clarity, which is one of the, you've got a bunch of presets in here. Passive clarity is kind of Pultec style, and it's doing a similar thing to what I was using before, which is the UAD Pultec. Let me just bypass this and I'll play the mix. We're listening to a song called Last Night by the band Casino Club.
Another Saturday night that's turned into Sunday morning. He's running away from all the signs he keeps on ignoring. But it can't last forever, and doing whatever the warnings just keep pouring.
I mean, that sounds very, very good. Let me just play around in the plugin and show you what it can do.
Another Saturday night that's turned into Sunday morning. He's running away from all the signs he keeps on ignoring. But it can't last forever, and doing whatever the warnings just keep pouring. But will he ever listen?
Now, obviously, on the master, that having the TXD all the way up sounds like ass, but
another Saturday night that's turned into Sunday morning. He's running away from all the signs he keeps on ignoring. But it can't last forever, and doing whatever the warnings just keep pouring. But will he ever listen?
from messing about with the plugin, the changes that happen in the hardware are instant. There's no delay whatsoever, or very, very minimal, not as much as I can tell, which basically makes it like using a plugin, which is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Another thing I wanted to mention here is the internal debate that's happened in my head about USB versus Ethernet. I know a lot of devices use USB, and that's fine, but I would go Ethernet. And the reason I would go Ethernet is because if you end up with a lot of these devices which are all being controlled, you can saturate a USB bus pretty quickly, especially if you're using a USB audio interface. Now, I'm using Thunderbolt, so I don't really have that problem, but this digitally controlled analog thing is still fairly new, and as more and more manufacturers do this, it could become a problem. So my advice to you guys is, from a personal standpoint, invest in Ethernet. Get yourself a little switch. You can get an unmanaged switch that's got 20 ports. You've got 20 pieces of gear right there. You can almost run as many as you want, to be honest, without having any issues. Secondly, if you're in the type of studio that has a big facility and even maybe a separate machine room, Ethernet is the way, because the cable runs you can get are a hell of a lot longer. You could have your computer in a completely different room to the EQ, and it would work absolutely fine over Ethernet. USB, you're going to struggle over certain distances, and with a lot of modern machines also being only USB-C, you're going to be limited there as to what you can actually do distance-wise. In the case of this unit, I have tested both extensively. I can confirm they work perfectly. They're both completely seamless. Great design on the hardware front and the digitally controlled aspect of it. I'm really impressed with the plugin. It's so easy to use. It seems so familiar. It's quite Pro-Q-like. So for those of you out there that are using Pro-Q, you'll kind of feel right at home with this, apart from the fact that you can't have unlimited bands. You can obviously only have what is available on the hardware, because ultimately all the plugin is a control interface for the hardware. So you can't invent bands out of nowhere, but it does allow you to, let's say, have the EQ sat somewhere else and control it from here without having to constantly turn round and get out of your sweet spot. So efficiency-wise, it's quicker. Recallability, it's perfect. You know, left to right balancing on the channels, absolutely spot on. It's perfect. This is an expensive unit, don't get me wrong. This is in the region of like $5,000. It is expensive. If this is the kind of thing you're looking for that can do a job as a mix EQ, mastering EQ, and everything in between, it really does represent a good option. You know, you've even got the distortion options in there. You can use it to make snare drums sound a little bit spicy, basses, all that kind of thing. You could use it for all of that. So it does have a lot of different use cases, and it is a versatile unit, and the build quality is fantastic. The rotary knobs on the front just feel very, very secure, they're all stepped obviously, and the click from step to step is very reassuring. Very nice build quality, which you would expect for this kind of price, but they haven't let us down. So Wes Audio, thumbs up on the NG Tube. It is a great piece of gear. All right, guys, so that was the Wes Audio NG Tube. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it, and if you're planning to get one. Probably not, because it's horrifically expensive, but if that's your type of thing, let's discuss it in the comments. Good points, bad points, what do you like about it, what don't you like about it? Those of you out there that might already have one, feel free to chime in. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves, and thanks a lot.